Oh, got my first person watching. Got 2 people watching. 3. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Anna. Whoever else is watching, give me a comment or something. I'm just testing something out. Oh. So how's everyone doing? That good, huh? I just finished setting up. Who we got? Sore today. Hey, Heather. Oh, for all you sore folks out there, then today will be the perfect little mobility project. For those of you that have known me, my favorite aspect of fitness has always been building strength. But over time, I lost some of my mobility through various things, sports, gaining muscle, and just plain not doing enough stretching or any type of mobility drills. So I have grown a deep appreciation for mobility, not only for its recovery purposes, but also just building and restoring better movement. So not only you can keep yourself healthy and injury-free, but also improve both joint mobility and stability, so you can just become a better exerciser and open up your exercise world, I guess I'm trying to say. Open yourself up to a lot more movement that previously you maybe couldn't have done. So today, we're going to focus on a lot of those different mobility drills. I have 12 different ones we're going to cycle through today. I scaled them out into 4 separate groups. So we're going to go 3 movements at a time. We'll go through a couple rounds. Generally, you don't have to do high volume when it comes to these type of drills, but we're going to take it a little bit slower, get a few rounds in, just so you guys can really learn how it should look and feel as well. Everything is going to be scalable by range of motion. So I only want people to go as far today as they feel comfortable. We shouldn't be creating any type of pain. A little stretch discomfort is fairly common. But if anything doesn't feel good, or you feel like you're pushing past what range your body has, cease and desist and feel it out. All right. And equipment, like I said today, dowel, a band or a towel for a substitute if you don't have a band, or even that bedsheet trick that I showed you guys last time or last Saturday. And a weight if you have it. If you don't have any type of weight at home, kettlebell, dumbbell, doesn't matter. You can sub out a gallon of milk, gallon of water, a paint can from the garage, whatever you have that you can hold on to with both hands that will provide a little bit of resistance for you. We're gonna get going here in a few. So if you guys have any questions prior to, go ahead and send out a comment or a concern, but no complaints. I'm just gonna keep rolling the dial until someone asks something. So Heather, you said you're sore. Where are you sore at? Ooh, we got a question, maybe. Arms and legs and Steph's back is pretty tight. Well, I have a couple back things that we'll be doing today, Steph. And actually one of our first movements is gonna have to do with mid and lower back. Oh, awesome. So I will definitely take you through one of my newer favorites that I found not too long ago with the dowel there. Any other requests? Of course. Hey, Mike. We'll be ready for our mobility stuff here in a moment. Anna's got some back, shoulders, sternum, chest area. Okay, hey, we're gonna be hitting all of that today. That's great. All right, for those of you that just signed in, I'll give you one more quick recap and we're just gonna jump into this thing. So happy Friday. Today's main focus for our live video is mobility, also recovery as well. So I am a big believer in working out intensely and deliberately. But whenever we do push ourselves, especially for a few days in a row, our body starts to feel beat up in a couple areas. I'm hearing a lot of sore backs, core, shoulders, chest, the works. So making sure that we spend an adequate amount of time not only recovering and taking some breaks from exercise, but also moving in different ways that are going to be more so like active recovery. That's what we're really focusing on today. So I'm gonna take you through 12 different mobility drills, equipment, dowel, towel, band, weight, or bed sheet, whatever the mixture of stuff we need to use. We're gonna take everything nice and slow. I'm gonna give you about a couple minutes per thing, and we're gonna cycle through each movement a couple times, just so you get an adequate amount of time to see it and learn how the exercise should look and feel. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get moving. So our first thing is going to involve the dowel. If you have a mat or some sort of knee pad for just some comfort, go ahead and lay that down first. Once you're all set up, you're gonna look for a nice wide base in your knees there, digging your toes into the ground. We're gonna start with palms up, gripping our dowel all the way on the outside. I want you to take your right hand, rotate it towards your left knee, plant it in the ground, and from there, you're gonna use that top hand, so the left arm, to pull that dowel back, opening the chest up and just going as far as you can. As you're doing that, I want you to think you're squeezing the dowel as tightly as possible, almost like you're trying to break it in half with your two hands there. And again, only rotating as far and as fast as you're comfortable going. Once you find that end point, go ahead and relax for a second, and we're gonna open back up. Still staying on the same side. You should notice that you're able to rotate a little bit further on the second round there. And it's gonna be great for that mid-back area, mobilizing the T-spine. One more time on this side. Pulling with that top hand, opening it up as much as you can. Biggest thing on this one, you guys keep working on that last rep. I'm gonna check the comments real quick. Everything is sore, Melissa. Chuck, your mustache is sore? All right, go ahead and switch to the other side with that dowel movement. Remember, wide grip, rotate away, plant it down, open up as much as you can. Biggest thing on that is making sure our hips aren't rotating with us. So there's multiple parts to our spine. The cervical, or the low back portion, we want that to stay stable. The part that's attached to our rib cage, the thoracic, that's the part that you're trying to rotate with the dowel. So go ahead and work on that. Second side, a little bit longer for me. I'm gonna stay close enough so I can read any comments or concerns if there are any. Just really focusing on opening up there, big rotation. Remember, breaking it down into reps. So generally I would recommend 3 per side. So that way you can plant the dowel, open up quite a bit, hold it for a couple deep breaths, close it back up, reset, rotate again, and you'll find your range of motion should get bigger on each of those reps. Let you guys wrap up that last one. Our second thing is going to be for the hamstrings and a little bit of hip stuff as well. So if you got a band, this is where we're going to grab it. If you don't have a band, this is where we're going to sub out with a towel. If you have a band like this where there's no handles and just a big loop, you can place it around the midfoot on one side. If you have a towel, just drape it over the top of your foot. We're going to lay back with it. Opposite leg, foot is going to be on the ground, little bent knee. You're going to be pulling on your band or your towel, keeping that leg nice and straight, toes pointed back towards you. We're going to lift it up. A few things going on here. This leg on the opposite side needs to stay bent the whole time. This leg remaining as straight as we can. And I want you to think that you're actively pulling, if you have a towel, on the edges to pull your foot towards you almost. That's going to help us get a little tension in that hip as well as hamstring. I want you to hold this side for about 1 full minute. You can see that one. We're going to hang out right there. Now the bent knee on the opposite side is so important. If we had it extended, just based on where the position of our legs are, we're going to be much more prone to arching our low back, not only losing the purpose of this drill, but also putting you at risk for putting some tension into the wrong area. So making sure we keep that bent. If you want to add, let's go ahead and switch sides. If you want to go ahead and add a little bit to this drill, you can always take that opposite leg and bring the ankle across the knee. If you're able to do that position, not only pulling on the band or the towel, but we can push this knee away. And it's going to help open up things a lot more and just add some intensity to the stretch right here. Oh, I got a question. What do we got? Yes, Chris. That and among other things. So holding that position a little bit longer on that left side and making sure the toes are remaining pointed, not relaxed, just keeping that engagement in the hamstring. There we go. A little bit longer. All right, let's go ahead and give it about 5 more seconds, then we can bring it down and relax. Our third one requires no equipment at all, and it's going to work primarily on hip flexors. So hips move in a lot of different directions. This one is going to be working on what's called internal rotation, or just how well your body can move the hip inward. So for this one, down on the mat, I'm going to have you open up your knees as much as you can. And we're going to place the side of our foot, as such, on the ground. Once you're in that position, I want you to rock down to your forearms, and from here, pressing the inside of your ankles into the ground, we're going to push back as far as you can. You're going to feel a significant amount of tension on the inside of your hip, kind of groin area. Rocking forward, and rock back. This is just called a frog stretch, nice and simple. I'll scoot up a little bit so you can see more of what's happening. But feet to the side, toes pointed out, rocking back, rocking forward. So if that is a hard position for you to get in, instead of going down the forearms, you can always stay up on your hands, extend back, rock forward. Increased intensity would be down on the forearms, pressing back, extending up. We're trying to emulate a lot of what our hips do within a squat pattern, just much more opened up, trying to work on that hip flexor complex. So generally this one, I would say about 1 minute to cycle through, just going nice, slow, deliberate reps, pushing back, rocking forward. And it is a pretty intense hip stretch. So if you need, start on your hands and work down to the forearms as best you can. But remember, only go back as far as it feels okay. I'll give you guys about 20 more seconds to keep practicing that one. wrists right there. Rocking back, rocking forward. Rivets are optional. Once we wrap this one up, we're gonna go back to the top and just review all three very quickly, just so we can see it again, and then go ahead and move on to the next group. So, let's pause from the frogs. Little recap. I'm just gonna do one long rep on each side. Palms up, outside of the dowel. Take your right hand, rotate to or past your left knee. Once you're there, take that top hand, pull it back, keeping the hips nice and level, and rotating that top hand as far as you can. Remember, I would do a couple reps on each side, rest, relax, and then switch. Opening up, and relaxing there. The second one was that hamstring movement that I was walking you guys through. Band or towel, whatever you have. Pick a foot, if I can figure this out. Pick a foot, roll back with it. Opposite leg, foot flat, knee bent. This leg straight, pulling through the middle of my foot, toes pointed. Getting that nice hamstring stretch. And good. So working on each side there. Remember, the added piece to it, if you wanted a little extra hip and glute stuff, taking that opposite leg, ankle across the knee, pressing this knee down as you keep tension on the band or the towel. And last one for our recap, the frog stretch. Opening up, toes pointed out, inside of the ankles against the ground. Using your hands to rock your hips back and forward, or even going down to the forearms, rocking back and forward. Cool. I'm gonna have everyone grab a quick sip of water. I'm gonna do that as well. And we're gonna move on to group 2 and look at that next cycle. Got on a jug for my first live workout, still using it. Because hamstring tightness is fairly common for a lot of exercisers, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a second drill that's hamstring dominant. We use it a lot of different courthouse training warm-ups, and I'm bringing it back. So we have the quadruped hamstring stretch. So how's it gonna look? Knees down, hands down. You're gonna pick one leg, bring it up. If you can, get that foot as far out in front of you as possible. Pushing from your hands and heel. I want you to straighten that leg out as best you can as you sit back. Pulling the toes up. Then rocking back forward, pressing the knee forward. As you see, my torso's going with my knee as I drift forward. Just to make sure that I'm not going too upright and putting all the pressure into my back. I'm keeping my hands on the floor and following my knee as I go forward. So again, 30 seconds to a minute per side would be sufficient. Sitting back, rocking forward. Only holding that back position just for a brief pause. Good. Before we switch to the other side, we're gonna add a second piece into it. Taking that same leg that was just moving forward and back, now if you bring it out to the side, opening up at about 90 degrees here as best we can, keeping that heel down on the ground, this hand on the hip, pushing that knee out towards the toes, and rock back in. So, working on more muscles that attach to and around the hamstring, so kind of that adductor complex on the inside of our leg, opening up those hips and groin, and just staying upright here. Again, only going as far out as you can without the heel creeping up. So some folks, you're gonna be right here, and that's okay. Some folks, we're gonna be cranking it all the way out there. That's great too. Just stay within your range of motion, and over time, that range of motion is gonna get better and better. But let's go ahead and switch to the opposite leg now. So hamstring first, hands to the ground, pressing forward, kicking back. Again, just working on lengthening the hip and hamstring here. For a lot of folks, you're gonna feel one side is gonna be a little bit looser than the other. It moves a little bit better or resists you a little bit less as you're trying to mobilize all these joints and muscles. There we go, good. Let's switch it to the adductor now. Taking that same leg, bringing it up. Remember, heel in line with the opposite knee there. Upright, hands go here, pushing out, guiding in as you see that heel stays down all the way. And remember, shorter range of motion is fine. We're just gonna build it up over time. Extending out, there it is. Now, truth be told, I thought this mobility workout would be a good change of pace now that we have as many Zoom workouts going as we do, as well as all of the high intensity live workouts we've been trying to provide. I thought it'd be good to throw a little recovery day in here at the end of the week. I think my body needs it as much as your guys is. All right, let's call it good there. Moving on to the second one in this group, we have child pose, but we're gonna add in a little bit of rotation. So knees about hip width apart, bringing our butt back down towards our heels, walking the hands out, sinking the head down. Once we found that position, I want you to take your hands, you're gonna slowly walk them side to side, like we're tracing an imaginary rainbow. Just no Lucky Charms involved. Going side to side here, you're gonna get a big stretch through the lat obliques, but also what's called your QL tissue in your back. Now, speaking of back, if you have a hard time sitting into this position because of low back pain or anything like that, just pull your knees a little further apart. It's gonna help you sit back a little bit further and get into this position. Going side to side. And again, you may not be able to walk your hands past your knees, so only walk them out as far as your body's going to allow. Don't force yourself past your end range to try and create a bigger benefit. Find the end point or kind of your natural end point, and over time, we're gonna gradually work past that. All right, we got another yoga move with a twist coming up. So downward dog, I think most people have heard the term. So we're going to hands down on the ground, I'll scoot forward, and then up on the toes. From here, it's called folding your body in half. We're gonna walk those feet in just as far as you can tolerate. So getting that big hamstring, glute, low back stretch. Once we've found that position that you think you can hold, one knee at a time, you're gonna bend the knee, pulling the heel off the ground, and we're gonna alternate side to side. So creating a little bit of movement at the ankle joint. Not only giving our hamstrings a little bit of a break, but also letting us get a little more of a calf stretch as we press each heel down. So as you see my heel coming down, I'm really aggressively pushing to the floor as hard as I can and going side to side. You can count this one by reps or by time. If you're going by reps, probably about 10 on each side would be sufficient. If you're going by time, about 45 seconds to a minute. Just staying down there and just moving our body. Beautiful. All right, let's take a little breather. And let's review all three. So the combination move that we started with, quadruped, hamstrings, rocking forward, sitting back, as well as that adductor move, knee and ankle staying in line as you're moving in and out of that range of motion. The second one we covered there, our child's pose position, so rocking back, hands out in front, head coming down, and then walking those hands side to side. And third, that downward dog, pulling the knee forward, pressing the heel down, going side to side there, only bringing those toes in as far as your body can hold that position. Again, all three of them, since they're single-sided, you could either go about 10 to 12 reps per side or make it more time-based, 45 seconds to a minute. Everybody get some water. I'm gonna grab a sip myself. I'm gonna get ready for superset number 3. Anybody have any questions before I move on? Looks like the same comments, so maybe not. All good. Give you about 30 seconds before I move on to the next thing. All right, group number 3, we're gonna start with some more hip stuff. So we worked on the internal rotation, that frog pose. We're gonna work on what's called hip flexion and extension in our half kneeling hip flexor movement. So that's the ability to lift your leg up, extend your leg back. So that's what we're gonna try and improve here mobility-wise. So for this one, I'm gonna actually move the camera real quick. I'm gonna get a better, or hopefully better, side view here. Let's go right there for you. Okay, so for this one, we just need a wall, couch, chair, something stable to put our back foot up on. So for this one, you're gonna slide that back knee as close to the wall as you can with your toes elevated either against your chair, couch, whatever stable object you're using while in your house. Now, for me, I'm able to get my knee pretty darn close to the wall. If you're not able to get in that position, it's a-okay to start a little bit further out. Biggest thing with this one is we're gonna be as upright as you can. Whatever foot is against the wall or whatever your object is, that's the glute we're gonna squeeze and also tuck our hips up. So just like we do when we plank, trying to tuck the hips, squeeze the glute, squeeze the core. Once you found that position, sit back towards the wall. You feel a big old stretch through the front of that leg. I just want you to hold it for 1, 2, 3. And from there, rock that front knee forward. As you notice, I'm not staying upright as I rock forward. That would put all that pressure into my low back. So as I rock forward, my torso comes with it. Front heel stays down, and we're gonna rock back again. Sitting back as far as you can, holding for a little bit. And rocking forward. I don't know about you guys, but hips used to be a big problem for me. And between my hips and my ankles, I actually couldn't squat correctly. Not only getting down low enough wasn't possible for me, but I also created a lot of compensations as well. I still have some small issues that I have to consistently work through, but this drill in particular helped out my hips a lot, and I credit that to my squat nowadays. Keeping everything on that time basis though, let's go ahead and switch sides. Foot up, sitting tall, squeeze that glute, squeeze that core, sit back and hold, and then let's rock it forward. Good stuff. Again, I would probably do about 10 reps of these with that brief pause back here and then leaning forward, or just give yourself a minute on each side and just work through whatever you're comfortable working through. Good. Everyone do 2 more reps of that for me. I'm gonna set something up. right. Those that have dealt with some sciatica-based symptoms, this is a good one to help you out on that. We have a piriformis stretch from the box. So again, you can use a chair, box, couch, anything at home where we can elevate one leg up onto. It's gonna be very similar to what the pigeon stretch looks like. So piriformis, if you're not familiar, it's a deep muscle beneath our glute maximus. It goes from the lower back and wraps underneath it, going to the head of your femur. So it also runs alongside of the sciatic nerve. So when this guy gets tight, it can create some of those symptoms, or at least help attribute to some of those symptoms. So what we're gonna do, one leg, we're gonna elevate onto the box as such. You'll see a lot of people lean forward into this one. That can actually create a little pressure down here in the low back. So to get the full benefit out of this drill and make sure we're not putting any pressure into our lower back, is I want you to stay upright with that leg on the box. And we're gonna actually bend the opposite knee, dropping down, staying upright as you do so, and pull yourself back up. So slowly sinking down, pop back up. We're only gonna hold that down position for a few seconds. We're gonna do this about 10 times on each side. So sink down, pull yourself back up. And of course, the sink doesn't have to be quite that low, just as low as you're comfortable going. Everyone do a couple more reps for me, and then we'll flip to the opposite side. All right, go ahead and switch legs for me, everyone. So flipping to the other leg and doing the same drop. So remember, leg up on the box, scooting in as close as you're comfortable. Hands can stay up there. Drop that knee, get that big stretch, stay upright, and pop back up. Okay, last couple on that side. All right, let's give our piriformis a little break. And we're gonna go on to just what I call the next series. So this is where our weight's gonna come into play, and it's gonna give us a nice little shoulder, chest, and a little bit of that sternum stretch too that Anna was looking for. So we're gonna take that weight. I'm gonna actually have you place it directly behind your backside. Once it's there, don't try and actively pull that weight up. Let it actually pull your shoulders back and down, opening everything up as much as you can. Once you feel that stretch, I want you to look forward. We're gonna move our head to the left, to the right, up and down. Now that would be called one rep. I want you to do 10 of those. So open up. Moving our head all 4 of those directions, left, right, up, down, and repeat. Biggest thing, keep working on that one as I keep talking. Biggest thing on that one is opening up here as much as you can, letting those shoulders pull back, but we don't want to arch our back at all because of that position. So keep squeezing your stomach, let the weight hang out back there, and we're moving each direction without getting into that extended position in our low back. So I'll give you guys a little bit more time there, and we'll recap again. Remember, at any point, if you have questions or if you need more modifications on anything or equipment questions, whatever it is, comment, let me know, and I'll talk you through it right now. So, last couple reps. Okay. All right. Let's review. So 1 in this series, there we go. Flip up on the wall, knee as close as we can get. Sit, bounce, sit back and hold, and rock forward a little bit. Making sure that we squeeze here and here in our gut and in our butt to make sure we keep our back and everything else safe as we lean forward and rock back. The second one, the piriformis movement, or the deep butt muscle. We're going in, leg elevated, across our box, opposite leg right there, as close as we can get it. Keep your torso upright, drop that back knee, pull it back in. And last but not least, get more chest, shoulder, sternum, all that fun stuff. Open up, moving your head 4 ways, and making sure we're not arching our back, but keeping everything packed in and open the shoulders up. Everyone grab a quick sip of water, comment your questions, something like that. And I'm gonna get our last series set up, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Okay. All right, last 3. This is where your band is going to come into play. If you don't have a band, we can use a bed sheet draped over the frame of a door as a substitute. Band would be preferable because it's going to give you some resistance back, whereas the sheet you can only pull on in itself. Either way, we can still get a benefit out of this movement. So we're going to start with some lat and shoulder stuff. I'm going to close my door up. How we're going to position ourselves here, we're going to go, let's say right hand first, grab it onto the sheet with a very loose grip. If you're holding a band, you would actually just loop your hand in and pull your thumb and pinky over. So grip remains relatively loose to keep the shoulder disengaged. From there, same leg, you're going to step back and around like we're doing a curtsy and dip your head down. Once we're in this position, big old stretch through the shoulder joint, as well as our lat, obliques, and all this fun tissue over here. And just a little gentle pull back on the sheet if you have it, or if you have a band, let it pull your arm forward a little bit. Just lengthening out everything in that area. This hand, wherever's comfortable, I don't know why, I'm just throwing it around my body as such. Giving myself a hug, letting me know that it's going to be all right. After about a minute, flip sides, same thing, leg. Let me see if I can give you a better view on the leg, actually. Go ahead and keep working on that one, guys. But, grab it on to our thing. Same leg, step back in kind of that curtsy position. And just hanging out right there. Relax a little bit. Yes, remember, holding on to that position there and sinking down just so we can really open up all that tissue around that area. For those that get shoulder pain from any type of pressing overhead, or even if you get it from push-ups, very beneficial movement right here. A little bit longer, and we're gonna go to the second one in the series. And we're gonna use the same piece of equipment for all 3 here, if I didn't say that already. Okay, second one, we're gonna focus more on opening up the chest and getting a bigger stretch through this area right here, particularly in all that tissue right by our armpit. So, same type of grip on your band or on your sheet, but we're gonna rotate away from it. So, let me go to the other side so you can get a better visual. But, opposite leg is gonna step forward, pulling on our band or our sheet there. I want you to rotate away from your bicep as far as your torso allows you. So if we're starting right here, parallel with the door, rotating away to open up that tissue. And again, finding your endpoint. So some of you may be almost still parallel with the door. Some of us make it to the point where we can completely rotate away from it. Find that range of motion and hold that position. I'm one of your favorite, Chris. Thank you. There you go. Staying nice and open up. We're going to spend a minute on each side here. Just a little bit longer. Okay. And just remember, right here is our starting position. Trying to open as we're getting into this stretch. Third one in the series, and we'll do one more recap and get you guys out of here. But we're going to start a little bit closer. Let me tilt my camera again so you can get a better view. We're going to start a little bit closer, almost in the same position as that chest stretch. You're going to bring your bicep up by your ear with your elbow pointed forward. Pulling the rib cage down, letting the elbow and bicep go back. We're going to get a big old stretch through our lat and the back part of our shoulder this time, and holding it there. Of course, for any of these movements, just focusing on deep breathing, filling your chest and rib cage up with air, purse your lips, big exhale out. Okay. Go ahead and switch sides if you haven't already, gang. Go. There we go. Let's go ahead. Let's recap our upper body series to finish today out. So we have the band or the sheet anchored up. Once you're there, first one, remember, whenever your hand's gripping, same leg, stepping back and around, getting into that curtsy, sitting down, big stretch, big opening there. If you have a band, take your pinky and thumb, hang loose, pull over the top of the band to really anchor it to your hand. If you're using a sheet, just keep a loose grip. Second one, focus on the chest, same type of grip, opposite leg steps forward, rotate away, open all that stuff up, big, big, big chest and shoulder stretch. And last one, third one, same grip, elbow and bicep coming up, opposite leg coming forward. And just hanging out right there. All right, quick recap. Of course, if you have any questions on any of the movements that we covered today, modifications for any of them, how you could perhaps progress some things, or if you just have more questions on mobility or different areas of the body and how to improve range of motion, feel free to comment on this video here, or you can message, email me, whichever. If you don't have my email, Cody Apr at Courthouse Fit, I would be more than happy to help. But that is all for today. Just remember, stick within the range of motion you have. Over time, try and build it up. How we can utilize this full list is an off day, kind of recovery day, and you can use all 12 of these moves in conjunction with one another. If you're just taking 2 or 3 of your problem areas and throwing them in before your workout, that is great as well. You can use any of these drills for a warm-up, and you can use them in there. You can use them in themselves to also build mobility. That's all I have for you guys today. Send your questions my way and have a good one.